Hello, welcome to the Ignorance Project. Today I am super excited about having my favorite person in life join us. Hello, August.
Hello, Shireen. Hello. You are also my favorite person. It's exciting to be back here after a few years. How many years has it been? Like two?
It's been 2 years since I kicked
Two
this
years.
off. Yeah. So today's format's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more of a candid discussion than informative. But of course, the goal of the Ignorance Project is to always learn and grow and just talk about new things. So typically, I kick it off by people introducing themselves. So I will do that with you. Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Ah, goodness. Someone asked me this question a couple of days ago. That's such a interesting question to answer. My name's August, AKB, some people call me. I am a production coordinator for animation and a filmmaker on the side as well, and just a multi-hyphenate creative. That's, I guess, the best way to describe me. I have done things in composing, in directing, and producing, in sound, in I'm trying to learn drawing now. That's the most recent endeavor that I've been partaking.
You're
Um,
doing pretty well with that too. Like, I'm actually impressed.
you're impressed? Oh, man.
I'm
Well, I
impressed.
mean, I have a long way to go. I have a very
Mhm.
long way to go. And I still, there's a lot of fundamentals. I don't put enough practice in, honestly. I need to practice like way more, but it's hard. It's drawing is not easy. Also, just hard finding the time too, especially the things I do. So
Oh my gosh, time especially. I think especially as you get older and you get more responsible and you have actual adulting to do, bills to pay, a job, but regular job that you're doing, it's harder to carve out that time for the things that you love or the things you even want to see if you love, like
hmm hmm
art, like drawing. It's difficult. The biggest, I think that's the biggest thing I didn't know would happen. I mean, I never wanted
hmm
to grow up in the first place.
Yeah.
I was always
What
happy.
what do
Yeah.
you want? You want to go to Neverland?
Yeah. Remember, I used to say, like, I am not ready to get older because I know I'm going to have to pay bills. I'm going to have
hmm
to
That's
be
true.
responsible. So
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like just saying I told you so every time someone's like, I remember when I couldn't wait to grow up. And I'm like, not me. I actually enjoyed my childhood. I was very satisfied with my parents paying for all of my bills and lifestyle.
That's fair. That is very fair.
Hmm.
Growing up has its pros and cons for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted my first episode this year to be with you for a couple of reasons. As I said earlier, you're the first person that I've ever interviewed on the Ignorance Project. You're
hmm
also the first person I ever told that this is something that I want to do. Right.
hmm
When we first, I was going to say when we first met, but we've always met, right? We've always met each other. But when I
Yeah.
first did you, the conversation was around doing something that you're scared to do. And we talked a lot
hmm
about your journey starting in biochemistry, or really starting in engineering then biochemistry, and then making the decision to completely switch to the arts, which was initially difficult for our parents to really embrace,
hmm
right?
hmm hmm
But we talked about doing that thing that you know in your gut, in your heart, like this is your passion. And sometimes you have to go against the grain. You have to go against the people that you typically listen to pursue that passion. And you were in school at that time, but now you're on the other side of that. So can you talk to us a little bit about the journey from actually going to school, graduating, and then getting hired by a company?
Sure. Yes. So I graduated in May 2021 in the COVID years. And it
Yeah.
was a very small. I remember the whole family came out to my graduation, but you had to stay at the hotel because you couldn't actually come to the graduation
I had to watch
because,
online, which was completely fine because it was really early in the morning. So
yeah.
I got to watch
But
in
just
my pajamas.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, but you couldn't come because there was a limit of how many people could
Hmm.
attend the graduation. So yeah, that was a very interesting time to graduate from grad school. I think that uh, you know, it was really interesting having almost half of my tutelage or my training at USC be online,
Mm.
and a lot of the opportunities that I did not get to have because of that uh, really actually shaped where I am today. Not the opportunities that I didn't have. I mean, the opportunities I didn't have, yes, and also the opportunities that arose because of the nature of COVID. So, right before I graduated, or the year in before my graduation, I was producing a couple thesis projects, and one of them was a live action. And what live action means for anyone watching is a show that it shows real people versus something that's animated that shows fake people. So a live action show versus an animated show, right?
Hmm.
Think any movie. I was producing a live action short,
Hmm.
and COVID happened, and then because of all the restrictions of COVID, we weren't able to actually shoot the show with
Mm.
real people, and we were wondering what to do with the show. Or I keep calling it a show. It's a short. I think now I'm used to working on shows, and I just call everything a show. No, it's a
So
short.
let me ask you a question there, because what
Yeah.
is a short? Like, what's the definition?
Oh, what is a short?
How
A
short
short.
did something have to be considered a short?
Oh, that's. It depends on who's asking or who's. It depends on the festival, I guess. If you're really trying to go, I think festivals kind of really define what a short is. I mean, not by
As in movie festival? Film festival?
yeah, a film festival. So I was making a short, which is just a self-contained. Well, this one was going to be around 12 to 20 minute story. I couldn't make it live, or we couldn't make it live action, and we were wondering what to do because of the nature of COVID. And one of us suggested that we pivot to animation.
Mm.
And then we were like, yeah, that's a great idea because you can still produce animations in COVID because people can be working from their own personal spaces. They
Okay.
don't have to come together to work on everything. We could do everything over Zoom. So it was just a very efficient choice for us to do that. And that kind of started my whole animation journey. So I know that this is like a very long way to answer your question, but this is very important to know
I
because
don't even
it's.
remember my question, but keep going.
You said you don't remember your question?
I'm joking.
This was my foray into animation. This was basically me
Okay.
learning the ropes of how to produce or how to make an animation. And another thesis at the time I was producing and
Mhm.
still am producing is being animated in Turkey right now. But it was a 3D animation. So this other one was a 2D animation. This the second thesis was a 3D animation. The difference between 2D animation and 3D animation, two-dimensional versus three-dimensional. So something that's flat versus something that's three-dimensional, like Pixar, like Tangled.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pixar films, all those types of films, versus something like the old DreamWorks,
Hmm.
um, Elder, like
Disney,
Brazil
old
Egypt.
school princess.
Yeah, all Disney princess films. Yeah.
Yeah.
So um I was working on one of both, like one of either, so a 2D and a 3D. And I started meeting some people who were in the animation industry, and one person, his name's Fraser McQueen. He kind of took me under his wing a little bit, and just really started teaching me the ropes and of animation. We would meet a lot and just talk about stuff. He would really guide the process of the animations that I was producing at the time.
Hmm.
Give feedback, teach me a lot of the history of animation because he worked on movies such as Tarzan. He's one of the old Disney heads.
Okay.
Um, and he's just like an encyclopedia of not just animation knowledge, but just kind of he just he's just one of those very
Well-rounded.
well, yeah, just knows a lot about a lot of things. So
Yeah.
every time I talk to Fraser, it turns into a 3 hour conversation of just going on deep dives of whatever. I was in an advanced producing class, and what we had guest lecturers, and one of the lecturers was or is the CEO of a company called Skybound Entertainment.
Hmm.
He came and talked to us, and I just remember when he talked to us, I just remember thinking, I really like the way this guy thinks, like the
Hmm.
way this guy approaches business and film and creativity and fostering artists, and just his whole mentality was very cutting edge. It was just very, it was just really dope. And I was like, I just need to know this guy. That was a thought in my mind. So USC has this thing called it has a mentor program or industry mentor program. So people in their final year can choose a mentor, an industry mentor
Hmm.
to talk to, and they give you a list of mentors, about 100 names of people who've been in the industry and are assigned mentors, and they tell you to choose 5 people from this list. And I went through the list, and even though they were great names in there, I didn't really like any of them. I mean, it's not like I didn't like them, but I didn't resonate, or I didn't feel like I would
Okay.
get what I really needed in my career out of that. So I
Mhm.
asked the people over the mentorship program. I was like, if I provide a list of names that I want to be mentored by, well, is that possible that I can be mentored by them?
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, sure. So I
Mhm.
was like, oh, dope. So I like obviously put like Ryan Coogler on there. He's like a USC,
Obviously.
obviously, right? I put like a few really good names. Um, and one of them, because of the lecture that we had in my advanced producing class,
Hmm.
um, was the mentor that I have today, the CEO of Skybound, and yeah, he agreed to mentor me. So
I think there's something to be said there too, right? Because
mhm,
once again, here you are carving your own path, right? Here you
mhm,
are provided with a list of names of people you can reach out to, and then you thought outside the box, like there might be someone else that can assist. And I mean, the worst that they can say is no. And that
that's
didn't
true.
happen. Well, maybe Ryan Coogler said no, but
Yeah, that's true. I don't even think I think they were like, they didn't even like reach out to Ryan. I don't think. I think they're just like, nah, nah. So I didn't get Ryan, which is fine. But yeah, so my mentor, um, it was also dope because I was like his first mentee, because like
Mhm.
all these other people had been in like listed mentors, and they kind of are like, okay, well, yeah, I'll probably just have one meeting with this person and never really talk to them again. I think that's how it goes with a lot of students who go through this, is that
Right.
they have a general meeting and then they never talk to the mentor again for real.
Mhm.
But because I chose this mentor specifically, we were able to meet quarterly and still do, and we talk and just ask. He asks about my progress and he gives me a lot of connects. So the reason I mentioned this is because he connected me to the person who would eventually become my boss. She is a studio head of the studio that I'm at, and we talked, and this is before I was ever her employee. We talked, and I was telling her about my aspirations, and we found out that we had something in common. That I told her I was from Huntsville, and she was like, "Oh, I lived in Huntsville for a long time, actually."
What?
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, we were just talking, and we had like a lot in common. It was
Right.
just like really interesting hearing her perspective on things. Um, and she introduces me to a couple people, but I don't really talk to her for a while. After I graduate, I'm looking for a job. This is finally I graduate, so this is finally in that time of after USC, and I'm looking for a job. At the
Mm-hmm.
time, I'm looking for a writer's assistant position, I believe. Um, I'm looking for either a writer's assistant position or a production coordination position. I couldn't get anything for many months. There is a another program at USC that is dedicated to getting burgeoning artists or new artists jobs or people who graduate jobs, right? And they send a whole bunch of job posts and you submit your resume, etc. So I was doing this quite consistently. Um, didn't hear anything back from anyone, and I didn't. I was applying to so many things, probably in total 100 to 150 applications over the course of 7 to 8 months. I mean, I graduated in June. So from May to February of the next year, I was looking for work, couldn't find anything.
150 applications. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I around December or January, I just knew the formula wasn't working. You know, I was like, this is not a formula that I think will benefit me. So I was like, I'm gonna have to start thinking outside the box to get a job, and really start pushing network building again. Like go pretty hard on networking because I feel like one that this is also the interesting thing is that I think that if COVID never happened, I would have probably gotten a job like very fast
Yeah.
because I would have been able to network way more efficiently. I would have had a lot more projects under my belt because I wouldn't have had the COVID restrictions.
And you remember you were
Um,
at that internship at WB before
that's true, yeah,
COVID.
and that also
Yeah.
got truncated.
Yeah.
That got stopped as well. Yeah, it would have been a completely different experience. So like, and I came to USC because of the network. I really wanted to
Mhm.
get a good, strong network. And I did in some senses. I didn't get as strong a network as would have happened without COVID, but I'm still grateful for the network I have.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I knew that I had to pivot my approach to getting a job. And I started just trying to set up meetings with more people, like just doing cold emails uh, on either getting LinkedIn emails for studio execs or whatever. Like I just started trying to. I went through IMDb credits for like the top 20 shows that I like and try to look at all the writers' names and try to get all their emails and all that.
Oh, wow.
Uh, and I reached out to them, had these so uh, I was just trying different ways. And at the time, I think it was another quarterly checkup with my mentor. And I was telling him, I've been looking for a job for a while and unsuccessfully. And these are the approaches I'm trying now. And then he introduced me to who would be my first boss. This was February. Also, at the time, there's so many, it's such a long period of time here. And your question actually encapsulates a very long portion of time. And there are a lot of key moments that I have to explain in painful detail.
And
So,
I think there's a lot that you're saying that's applicable across different um, industries, right? Because
yeah,
one, just talking about the importance of mentorship. And I know in my life how important having mentors have been just for even being able to think a little bit more outside the box. You know, if you're only working with within yourself, you're never going to have any new ideas. You're never going to have any new
yeah,
approaches. And also I wanted to call out like the grit and the grunt work you put in to even be where you are now, right? A lot of people, especially for some reason, when people know that you are in the industry, they're
hmm
always asking me like, "Oh, can you connect me with him?" Right?
hmm hmm Yeah.
And I think that people don't always realize, not that there's anything wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
But you can also take the approach of connecting with people that you don't know, doing that work, looking
Mhm.
them up, looking up things that they've done, reaching out. And
Yeah.
now my explanation is getting long, but
That's
I'll
fine.
close my little story out by saying I know one of the mentors that I had, that was one of the recommendations he made. I was saying, you know, I feel like I'm a little bit stuck where I'm not really growing at work and I don't know what the next step should be. And he told me reach out to people on LinkedIn. And literally
Mhm.
every person that I reached out to that was in my field agreed to meet with me. And having those
Yeah.
conversations about like, this is the approach I'm taking. How do you approach the projects that you manage? How do you approach your product management, your roadmap? How do you look
Mhm.
for new innovative ideas? Having those conversations with random people has been so helpful for me in my career. So um, I just want to note that that can apply to a lot of different industries, not just film.
Yes. No, that's very true. I think that I agree completely. Thank you for that respite. I've been talking too long. I need to hear something else from someone. So appreciate that. Anyway, to finally get to where I am now, I get a meeting with the person who would be my first boss. We meet, we have a general meeting, and we're talking. It's just a general. We're just talking, and what a general meeting is in Hollywood terms is just you're meeting with someone who's in the industry,
Mhm.
and you guys are just talking and kind of bounce. Well, it's not. Sometimes it's with the purpose of bouncing ideas with each off of each other. You're just trying to get a vibe for the other person. The other person's trying to get a vibe on you,
Okay.
and maybe there will be something that comes from that. But these are very common meetings in Hollywood called
Mhm.
general meetings, right? Um, so I have a general meeting with this guy, and we're just talking. And I tell him my aspirations of what I want to do with my career, and and then he's like, "Okay, yeah, cool." And toward the end, I'm like, "Well, if you ever need help on anything, just let me know." You know, and this is something I didn't have to say. I could have just left the conversation and be like, "Okay, nice to meet you, bye."
Mhm.
But I did tell him, and I think this is a very important thing for anyone who is trying to pursue a dream in any field
Mhm.
is that you have to let other people know that
Um,
either you're looking for something or that you want something. You have to let people know because
it
if
takes
you
some
don't let people
humility, right?
yeah, exactly. You have
Yeah.
to let people know because if you don't, no one's gonna know for like unless you tell them.
Hmm.
And no one's and you'll be surprised at how many people are so willing to try to help you achieve
Hmm.
your dreams, as long as it's not too much of a burden on their own lives. If it's just oh they need to connect to people, they're usually happy to do it.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I said if you need help on anything, let me know. Literally the next day, he's like he emails me. He's like, hey, actually I'm looking for a production coordinator on this TV show that I'm doing. Are you interested? And I'm like, yes. So that, um,
Yeah.
yes. So then that is basically how I got my first gig on a show on a show called The Walking Dead Last Mile, which was a Facebook show. It's a
Okay.
Facebook live show slash video game. A mile stands for massively interactive live event, and it was basically a show in which the people who were watching slash playing could dictate the narratives or the fates
Oh.
of the characters in the show. Um, and I was the production coordinator for the animation portion. Um, yeah, so that was my first gig, and the show lasted from I started in March, but it went from July or June to November. So it
Mhm.
wrapped in November.
Mhm.
And the company I was working for, I became kind of a generalist production coordinator. They put me on a show called Invincible, which is an animated TV show on Amazon
Yeah.
Prime. And I started on that in July when I was also working on The Walking Dead. Then after The Walking Dead was wrapped, I fully transitioned over to um, Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
And the trailer for season 2 just came out a couple days ago. I was actually the production coordinator for the trailer
Okay.
at the beginning, and then they pulled me off of it because they wanted me to focus full time on the show, the actual show. But it's really cool seeing the trailer come out, and I'm like, dang, like I kind
Yeah.
of had. It's
The
really
film
cool seeing that
is
you had a hand in it. It's
yeah.
really so. Anyway, that's where I am now, a production coordinator for these animated TV shows, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the long answer to your short question.
Yeah. Now I actually don't remember what my question was, but
You're okay, yeah.
but that was very informative. So thank you.
Mhm.
So let me
No
ask you
problem.
this. Are you happy with what you're doing now?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Honestly, like I always thought, like when I started doing animation back at USC, I was very surprised that animation never like crossed my mind before.
Really?
I never, I was like not, I was very live action oriented. And when I started doing animation, I was like, wait, like everything I've watched before this has been like, I've grown up on animation and
Yeah.
I like love animation so much.
Yeah.
Like, why did I never think of this? So it just is like really refreshing to be in this field and just get deeper and deeper into it and just learn the ins and outs of animation.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm just really grateful to be in animation. I love it more than ever now than ever before. So yes, I do love my job, and I also love what the opportunities that I'm presented at my job, and
Hmm.
it's really fun.
I'm happy for you. So
Yeah,
let me
yeah,
ask
thank you.
you, when you think about like your future, what do you see yourself doing next?
Next, working my way. Well, I mean, yes, working my way up, but I just want to produce. I want to produce animations. So, and I think at one point in my life, I do want to make a studio. I still might do some live action stuff, but
Mm.
like, and I want to create a story. I still want to write. I want to write a lot of things as well. So that's where my mind is right now.
What advice would you give to people that are interested in breaking into the film industry?
Um, that's a tough one because it depends on where the person is in life, what their past has been. The answer could be tailored to every single person. But I think that the number one thing that you really have to do is have a good work ethic. I think that if you have a good work ethic in anything, you can make it in film. The people who make it in film are the people who just stick with it. Like
Mhm.
it's not even it's there are some things that are about talent or luck, but a lot of it is just stick to itiveness, and you just have to keep if you have to set your eye on something and just keep going. Like
Mhm.
don't stop until you achieve it at your own pace to work toward it and just not be discouraged by the inevitable lulls and pitfalls that you will eventually run up into. Um, that's it. Just keep going.
One more thing I have to talk about with you, because during your time at USC, one, I don't think people realize that you actually do create things during your time there, like projects that can be profitable in the long term. So you
Hmm.
created a short film, Beats.
Yes,
That's
yes.
one of the things that you created. And now you're in the process of that being on a network. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yes, sure. So I created a film called Beats at USC. It's a
Mhm.
short film. It's 6 minutes long, and USC has this division inside of it that basically its sole purpose is to get the films that the students create distributed for different different mediums, such as like on streaming services or at festivals or in airplanes or any sort of other medium that you might think of. So that's their sole purpose, is to like get their students' films on other mediums or in other mediums. And my film Beats was just or is in the process of going on a streaming service called Canopy.
Can everybody access it?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can get a streaming subscription to Canopy. There's a lot of other wonderful films on there. Yeah, so yes, you can. I don't know when it will be on there. I have no clue. Maybe for Black History Month. Maybe, I don't know.
I'll post it once
you give
me the information. So stay tuned on that. And then you've also you've done the music for a student film that won a student Oscar, right?
Yes, that is true. The Dope Years, the untold story of Latasha Harlins.
Yeah.
Who was a young girl who was tragically killed at the time of the LA riots. So yeah, I was the composer for that. I've been the composer for I think 7 films now. And 1 commercial or 4 commercials. And I think one of the I posted this on my Twitter that one of my proudest statistics is that, or one of my proudest like career achievements is that I've been like the composer for all these films that were directed by women specifically, like, and 4 of the 7 films were like Black women.
Yeah.
I've never like been the composer for a film by like from a man, which is very interesting to me. I don't know, maybe men just don't ask me. I don't know. I don't know what that's about, but like I really love that all these films were by Black women.
Yeah. Is that film that I mentioned earlier available to the public or not?
Oh, The Dope Years?
Yeah.
The Dope Years is untold. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Some of the films I mean, if you're just trying to get a list of films that might be available, there's The Dope Years, the Untold Story of Latasha Harlins. There's one called The Cipher, that's directed by Latia Solomon. Oh, I should probably mention the director's name. The Dope Years was Allison Waite. There's one called Separated by Maria Larif Wade.
So I know we're about out of time. Is there anything that you want to add before we finish up?
Yeah. There is a single that I'm working on that's I think is I'm very excited about it. I don't know. I'm hesitant to say when it will come out.
Okay.
But it should be very soon.
Okay.
And also, this actually is what I really wanted to end on. So I have an orchid. Let me pull this orchid out here.
You got props. Did I use that right?
Yes, you did. This is my orchid. As you can tell, it's about to bloom. This orchid, huh?
I said, I'll keep going.
What do you mean,
I mean, I feel like about to bloom might be a little bit exaggerated, but it's still healthy and alive. When it's about to bloom, the bulb is much heavier.
Okay. These are flower bulbs. They're about to come out. Give it like 2 more weeks. I guess the time is relative. But it is in the process of blooming. Now this orchid has been dormant for about a year and a half now. Maybe almost 2 years. No, about a year and a half. I've had it for like 2 years. And I think that orchid, it just really kind of just somehow correlates to the stage of life that I'm in a lot. 2022 was like a very, I mean, obviously I got a job and a lot of things were happening, but it was a very dormant year for me
Yeah.
as far in terms of like creative output. And something changed in me when I came home from Florida in January. It was like the switch just turned on, and I've just been going ever since.
Hmm.
It just feels really, really good.
You have
I
to
feel like
feel
in a really
gratitude for those moments, right?
I feel so no, I feel so grateful. I feel
Yeah.
amazing. And I feel like I'm just like this year, I'm really excited. I'm
Hmm.
really excited for all the stuff that's happening this year. I'm not even going to mention some of the things, but there's things coming around the corner. I'm really happy, and I also just have more creative energy now than I've had, and more zest for life than I've just had. And I've always had zest for life, but like more than like years since like
Hmm.
before COVID. It's been like 4 years, maybe 5 years, maybe six, since I felt like this excited about life. It's
Okay.
like really, I feel really good. I don't know why I'm mentioning this, but I maybe it was just really a reason for me to show off my orchid that's about to be in bloom.
Well,
But
I mean,
I
I think it's
really,
a good analogy for life and how, like you said, we can be dormant at times and feel frustration and that,
well, no, no,
you know,
actually, no,
ah,
no,
okay.
no, no. This
Okay.
is actually the reason I'm mentioning. Now I remember the reason why I'm mentioning this.
Okay.
It's because I did not feel frustrated or frustration at my dormancy.
Oh.
It was very, very necessary and very important for me to take a step back and just hibernate or just like literally stop because I think I was kind of burnt, like through this whole story I've told, I was like grinding from the time that I graduated or even through school,
Mm-hmm.
through graduation, trying to get a job, got the job. And when I got the job, I was like, oh, thank God. And I just rested for the rest of the year. I did not do anything but do my job, come home and play video games. And that's all I did. I did not do anything else. And I did that for months. I did that for like 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that it was not, I wasn't going to be doing that forever. But
Mm-hmm.
it was very important for me to do that because I needed to rest
Mm-hmm.
in order to build up enough energy so that now I can make moves and actually be like come into and bloom. I needed to have that
Needed that
time.
self-care. People
Yes.
don't take time for that.
Yes. So that's why I'm saying do not be frustrated at those moments. Those moments are very necessary and
Mm-hmm.
very vital and important. Just like my orchid needed time to build up a root system and make its leaves grow
Yeah.
before it ever had it even considered uh, shooting up and making the stem to blossom.
Look at you
So,
sounding like a whole philosopher.
but that's really what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
That's really so. Sometimes you need to give yourself that space, and I
And
don't think a lot of
appreciate that
people.
moment. People
Yes,
get fresh. That's the thing. People get frustrated in that moment. They don't
yes,
appreciate that the silence is necessary for them to like build themselves back up. Right?
yes, yes, and that silence. It doesn't. I mean, it can be months. It can be
Mm,
years. You
mm.
know, one of the greatest things that I've even thought about. I mean, this doesn't apply to everyone, unfortunately, but it does apply to me and to you. Is if if we take care of ourselves, we have at least a couple more lifetimes in us. Like there was a period where I was getting very anxious at like the things I wanted to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't. I was like, man, I'm not doing anything. Um, at various parts of my life. I was like, there are so many ideas I've had and I haven't
Mm-hmm.
done them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you might get frustrated, right? In
Moral
its
of the
own
story.
time.
Okay.
Moral of the story in its own time.
All right. Well, I love you very much. I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to see what you continue creating and what you continue doing and how you continue to inspire me on a daily basis. I'm grateful for that. And you.
Oh man, I'm grateful for you too. I love you so much. And I love you for giving me this white bean chili recipe. I was busting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. And yeah, no, it's always good to catch up, and I hope that this ignorance project continues to grow and you continue to get really dope people on here who expand insight and into various parts of lives that people aren't aware of. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for tuning in to the Ignorance Project. Thanks for following along with AKB's journey. And I hope you leave this feeling enlightened. If the people have questions for you, can I do a follow-up?
Sure. Yeah.
If you have questions, let us know, send them in, and we're more than happy to answer them. All right.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. But how did I lose my train of thought?
You are killing me.
What was I even talking about? I literally everything I was saying this and I completely went blank. Like what was I? I gotta bring it back.
Going through seasons and not being frustrated with the silence and using that to build yourself back up.
Something after that. What was I saying? I have to get this. It's important I get this right now. You don't remember what I was saying? What was I saying? Like the last 3 sentences.
The last 3 sentences? That was like 5 sentences ago.
No. It wasn't about me blooming orchid or anything like that. It wasn't a continuation of the analogy I was making. It was a brand new thing. And I forgot it. And it sucks because it was actually good. Dang. Oh well. Oh, that's what I mean. Basically, I was trying to. No, it's gone. It's gone. I'm sorry. It was a very. So good.
Was it?
It was very important. It was gonna be good. Anyway, sometimes come back. I think you gotta let it go and be fine with it letting it go because it'll come back in its own time.